This is the Horse Radio Network. This is episode 384 of Horse Tip Daily, a different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you one day at a time. Today's tip is sponsored by FeedXL. Visit them at feedxl.com. Hi, everybody. Glenn the Geek back with you from Lexington, Kentucky, and you're listening to Horse Tip Daily. Well, I'm thrilled to have back with us someone who is the founder of the On-Target Training Method. Her name is Shawna Karrasch, and she is just a delight to speak with. She was really a pioneer in the 90s in on-target training and clicker training, and she took that from her many, many years at SeaWorld. She worked with all the mammals over at SeaWorld. So it was nice to be able to get her to join us here on Horse Tip Daily and a couple of other shows, as a matter of fact. And we are thrilled that she joins us on a regular basis. If you haven't heard her previous tips on positive reinforcement and things like that, head on over to our website and check them out. We're going to be back with Shawna talking about a business today, something a little bit different, but I think you'll find it fascinating. And we're going to do that right after I ask you, have you gone to FeedXL.com and checked out whether you are feeding your horse correctly or not? Nobody's quite sure. It came up on the morning show the other day that, people just throw food at their horse, and if they're not getting skinny, they just assume that they're getting the right stuff. Well, that's not always the case, and FeedXL is the way to find out. You just go there, you spend a couple of minutes putting in information about your horse, you put in all the information about what you feed your horse, from how much grass he gets to what types of grass to how much hay to the grains and supplements and the whole thing. You put all that information in, and it spits out the very detailed reports for you, and they're unbiased. They're third party. They're not tied to a feed company or to a supplement company, and they'll tell you need more vitamin B. You might need more vitamin C, whatever that is that your horse isn't getting enough of. Maybe he needs more hay for the protein, that or more grain for protein, or a higher protein grain. Whatever it is, you're going to find the results and the answers over at FeedXL.com. Take a couple minutes, and it's a peace of mind for you to know that you're doing the right thing by what you're feeding your horse. FeedXL.com. And now Shawna. Well, hi, Shawna, and welcome back to Horse Tip Daily. It's always good to speak with you.
You too, Glenn. It is great to be here.
We had talked about doing a tip, you and I. You have started a few businesses in your lifetime, and I've started a number and consulted with a number of businesses, large and small, and we talked about how things are changing in the world today, and this tip is really about business plans versus business outlines. So tell me your experience with business plans in the past.
Okay, when I first started the business back in like 96, 97, you laid out a plan, and I had this vision that I thought this is how to go, and these are the steps it'll take, and this is where it'll be. And what I found is it didn't go like that at all. But in fact, it went better, but it went in directions that I couldn't anticipate. I couldn't even have planned it as good as it went, and just different doors open that I didn't know, but led down a different path altogether. And I found that the best thing I could do is not get hung up on, markers as success or failures, but all of it as a learning thing, and to kind of, if a door opens, not to be afraid to walk through it and just have a little faith that it's going where it's supposed to go, and it usually does. So as I've kind of really rekindled the business lately, I kind of thought, I'm going to have an immediate plan, or these are actions that I want to take. But I've tried not to limit myself with getting a set, guideline in my head too much. It's a general guideline versus these are the particular steps. So I've really kind of found that it'll be even better if you just can go with it a little more. It's been my learning experience.
I think it's because we're both getting older and lazier a little bit too. But now I totally agree with you. And when I started the Horse Radio Network, I had an outline. I had what I call a business outline. Business plans can be quite extensive, and the one thing I found, especially with larger businesses, and we could name very large corporations that have ran into this problem, in that they had a plan and they're going to stick to it no matter what, and they're not going to react as things change. IBM is a perfect example. When Microsoft came along, they didn't react. Microsoft right now, as Apple and a bunch of other people are really pushing them in areas that they didn't plan for. So you have to really, and especially with new media today, with the with advances in technology and new media, what is here this year is completely different next year. So I do believe that you should have a plan of some sort. You should have an outline of where you want to go, your goals. I think goals are very good. But I, like you, believe that you have to be willing to adapt, and you have to be willing to follow those doors as they open, even if they're a little off of your plan, as long as your goal, you still have your eye on the end goal.
Yep, and I totally agree with you that things, and sometimes, something I think is really important to me and maybe my horses and my horse thing, as you put it out there for people, you kind of realize maybe that's just, either overcovered by other people or it's a personal thing, but something else that I kind of put out a little arbitrarily, people will totally be into and run with and responding to. So I find that you got to be listening to what people want. And then, like you said, with the new media just changing so much, I don't even think we have an idea what will be next. Like if you would have said to me anyway, like 5 years ago, kind of tried to describe Facebook, and I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Or you would have said, who would use that?
Yeah, why would people do that? That just seems, I can't even, so.
If you would have only known that your first boyfriend from high school, you would have been reconnecting again on Facebook all these years later.
Exactly. It's oh, no. And then you're saying, who is that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Whose picture is that? But, yeah, it is totally, I totally agree with you. A general outline is the best way to go, and I think for me, the thing I just need to keep doing is moving forward towards, the big goal. And as something goes, like you said, to kind of reevaluate and go off course a little bit, but it doesn't mean you have to lose maybe one direction you're going. You can go that way, but I totally agree with you. If you're responsive and listening to what people are responding to, I mean, I think that is the best gauge. And the horse industry is just all over the map. I mean, we have so many different disciplines and so many different, kind of demographics as far as male, female, disciplines, monetary levels. You can do a clinic in somebody's horse is $500, and you do a clinic and the horse is $3 million. Well, those are very different, but it all, so it's all very different. It's just totally. You just gotta listen and respond. I think that has been what's helped me the most. And like I said, I think it ends up better than I think.
Well, and I think you back in the 90s when you started on target training and clicker training, that was new to the horse world, and I think that's an important lesson too. There was not a radio network dedicated to the horse person like we have done it, and I have always wanted to be first at things. I've always wanted to be the first one to do it. It bores me being the second one. And the first, if you put your heart into it and you do it, you'll be the leader and everybody else will be following you. And I think that's an important lesson. Figure out a way to do it differently and be the first. If you're out there and you've researched and what's available to you technology-wise and education-wise and everything else, then change up the model a little bit, especially in the horse world. Change it up a little bit and be the first.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you're going to learn being the first because there's no map to follow. And I didn't have a map to follow with the Horse Radio Network either. We've made some mistakes along the way, and you're going to make those. And it's going to be a little bit easier for your competition, but guess what? You're first. You're still out in front, and they're following you. And you did that when you did on-target training way back when. Yes,
and it was even hard to kind of write a business plan because you're going. It's not like there's another, dry cleaner, or something that you go. Right. This is exactly how they did it. You're like, it's all just a bunch of unknowns, and you can limit yourself by kind of thinking, no, this is how I'm doing it. But I think really, it's just the sky's the limit, and it really, and you can't be afraid to be first. Or I feel like you shouldn't ever be afraid to be first. I think it would be a bigger crime for me if I didn't follow my heart, my passion. I think then I would at 80 sit there and think what if and I think that the best thing you can do is to kind of move forward as best you can and following your heart and listening to the people and breaking new ground, not being afraid to break new ground.
Well, thank you, Shawna. This has been great. Where can people find out more about you and your business?
Probably the easiest website to give you is, they all kind of go to the same place, but Ask Shawna will take you to my base website, but it's easier than remembering Shawna Karrasch or putting, it's just an easy one.
It.
So yeah, exactly. Ask Shawna. You go there and it'll take you to my website and kind of what's going on and different, avenues I have for helping to reach and teach and offer solutions to people.
All right, that's terrific. And, of course, you're also booking dates out for clinics and things, right?
Yes, I am. I love doing clinics. It's just so enjoyable for everyone involved. So, for sure, if you're interested in a clinic or learning more about it or hosting a clinic, it's a great way to build that relationship with your horse.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Shawna.
Okay, thank you, Glenn.
Well, thanks again to Shawna. She is such a delight to work with. We really like working with her, and she's going to be starting to be a regular every couple of weeks on Horses in the Morning as well, talking about more in depth about training and different topics like that on Horses in the Morning. We're thrilled to have her there as well. Well, we'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, stay safe, everyone.
The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.